Hey, everybody. Welcome to the live stream. We're doing a little bit different tonight, but don't worry. We're going to have guests coming up in the near future, and we'll get back to more of our regular pace. This was Labor Day, and I want you to have a great time here. We're trying to make Mondays great. Remember, the chat is where it's at. If you do have a question, then please put a Q at the beginning of your chat, and if you have a milestone to share, please put an M at the beginning of your chat. We will be discussing a few things tonight, including some trivia, some about woodworking and some about our channel. But we're going to discuss, is this the start of woodworking season? And I hope that you will share your ideas in the chat. As I share the screen, I just want to share with you some of the upcoming guests that are coming up before we get into our regular chat. If you don't want to see this part, you can, and you're watching this on replay, you can fast forward by about a minute and we'll get caught up with you. Your next guest will be next week, Rex Kruger. If you haven't checked out Rex's channel, please do. Lots of great content. I think you would like it. And Rex is, I'm really excited about having Rex on as a guest. After Rex, then I've got Andy Bird from Andy Bird Builds. Andy is just celebrating hitting 60,000 subscribers. For those of you interested in CNC, if you go to his channel, to the main channel, he has a video out there giving some tips for beginners about how much you should plan on investing whenever you start with a CNC. And he gives you some real concrete guidelines about what to do to be prepared for that transition. After that, September 26th, we've got Dylan, also Dylan and Molly usually, but Dylan has agreed to come on the show from the Wood Brew channel. They've got over 150,000 subscribers, and I think that Dylan's going to be a great guest. Very excited about that. Joey from One Way to Make will be our guest. Jason Bent from Bent's Woodworking and More has over 160,000 subscribers. I discovered his channel during the pandemic. Lots of great content, especially for beginner woodworkers. I think that if you're not familiar with Jason's channel, I think that you would like it. And we also have scheduled Gerald Vance from the Appalachian Heritage Workshop, who is a regular guest, or a regular person in the chat and in the comments. I appreciate Gerald and have had some conversations with him in the past. He has a PBS show where he talks about woodworking. He is trained. He's a trained woodworker. He went to school for it, and he does training for others. I'm very excited about having him as a guest and look forward to that. I want to say hello to Sandy and hey, Mighty Sawdust, 432 Woodworking, PJ Barker, 413 Furniture Builds, and of course, Sandy from McKenzie Lumber Mill. Thank you all for being here, and let's have a little fun. I hope you had a great Labor Day. This show is going to be a little bit different than normal. It's going to be shorter. We're going to get into the content, going to talk about it, and we will have some fun from there. Let's see. Let's get to our first topic. The topic of the day: is there a woodworking season? So whenever I think of woodworking season, for me, that's the fall, winter, and leading into the spring, because weather is so hot in South Carolina, it's hard to work out in the garage or out there in the driveway. I've tried to find time in the winter. Plus, I have more things that need to be done. So I have an increase in shop time. I have an increase in demand because people want more items. You know, with the Christmas season coming up, there's a decrease of distractions. The children are back in school. I have one child. She's back in school. I get more holidays, more time, and and I'd already mentioned the weather impact. So for me, woodworking season does start around Labor Day and goes into the spring, because that's when I can get into the shop the most often. How about you? What factors play into your decision about how much shop time you get in different seasons of the year? Is this woodworking season for you, or do you have a year-round busy time producing items in your shop? Or is there a different season that maybe the summer is best for you because you live in a really cold climate and your shop doesn't have heat? I don't know. Let me know. I will be glad to read those comments and see what you have to say about that. So the next slide is about, are we at the start of woodworking season? And it's for the same reasons mentioned above. One thing I didn't mention before was I believe there's more fairs and markets during the cooler months, and people get out to those. A lot of people sell woodworking items at those, go see what others are making at those. So do those things impact you and impact when you can get into the shop? Let's get to our first question of the night. Kind of doing the same kind of thing we did last week, but the first few questions are about our channel and the Woodworking YouTubers channel, and see how your memory is and what your thoughts are about what you expected. So please give me some comments. Now, as far as woodworking season, I'm seeing Mackenzie Lumbermill say, I'm deep in the thick of woodworking. Yes, I am doing Christmas projects and Christmas items to sell. I just did 5 shows in 4 days this weekend. My lumberjack divided and conquered. Kind of all over the place there, Sandy. You got 4 shows in a weekend. You're having to have the merchandise there and have it ready to sell. So that's great. 4321 says, there is no good time for me. Laugh out loud. Summer is hot, winter is cold, kids are in school and activities and busy all the time. Go, go, go. Appalachian Heritage Woodshop is out there tonight from West Virginia. We've already mentioned that he will be a guest. And speaking of guests, we've got one coming in tonight. Dariusz, how are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. Life treating you well?
Pretty good. Can't complain too much.
When is your woodworking season? When do you expect to be the busiest in the shop?
I think the busiest would be starting up now because you got you got Halloween, then you got your Christmas kind of gifts, and then obviously you just kind of transition to the springtime kind of stuff. But I've been in the shop pretty much all year. I lucked out. I had like a little 4-in-1 AC unit heater thing, so kept me cool last summer, kept me warm in the wintertime, and then it kind of kept me cool in the beginning of summer, and then literally just broke down on me this past week. So it was kind of hard to get back in the shop when it was hot and just stay focused because it was just getting too hot in the shed. But otherwise, just, if something comes up, I'm in the shop trying to build it. Just recently, I had a coworker pass away, so I kind of made a layered cross for the family. And I had another ex-coworker that kind of liked it and wanted a similar version to honor them also. So that's what I'm kind of working on right now. Otherwise, it's kind of gear. After I finish this, I'm going to basically gear up to basically start making some Halloween stuff, little lanterns and stuff like that, and try to use that as the, Halloween season. I work in retail, so I'm kind of basically following the retail. So once I see Halloween in the stores, I'm going to start making some kind of Halloween decorations. If I see Christmas, although this year is kind of weird because literally Halloween's one aisle, Christmas is the next aisle because of all the logistics and everything else that was going on this whole past year. So I think they're just cramming everything they've got now into the stores. So it's like Halloween one aisle, Christmas next aisle. Next week I'll probably turn around and see your New Year's resolution exercise equipment, and then 2 weeks from now, patio furniture already. So it just kind of season by season, just start thinking of some kind of item, and then just basically go with it and make a whole batch of them and sell them.
That's awesome. Awesome. You've been doing well since we had you as a guest on the show?
Pretty good. I had a few items that sold, and I'm kind of working on something for the fall season. Kind of too late, but I partnered up with a local store that's going to probably use some of my planners that I'm making, so I could have a nice little order where they actually buy my stuff and then sell it in their stores. But they kind of already did their fall season buying for the stores, so they've got my number and they've liked what I built. I brought them samples. They like the craftsmanship, so I got potential orders for coming up this spring. So that's a great start to look forward to, and just keep going from there.
Awesome. PJ says summer is way too hot, but I did work outside on my carport this summer. Let's just say I moved back to my shop with AC. I can understand that. Mackenzie says, hello, Darius. 4321 says, our first guest on the Woodworking YouTubers live stream was James King. And I'm not, 4321 says, retailers overbought coming off COVID shortages and massive buying, and it's all coming in now. Yeah, that is a challenge. So we've had one person take a guess at who was our first guest on the Woodworking YouTubers live stream. Do you have a guess, Darius?
It is B.
Okay. Actually, it was C. Matt Outlaw was our first guest. Yeah. Kind of got you on that one. PJ and Rich both said C. Very good. Thank you. Let's it
was like a week or two apart, wasn't it?
It was week after week. Yeah. It was Matt and then James King. So that one was a little tough. You got to think back to all the way to the beginning of December last year. If you took our guest, and remember some weeks had multiple guests, and you added up all of their subscribers counts as of 2 days ago, how many subscribers would that total? Now, if the guest came on more than once, I didn't count their subscribers twice. I only counted them once. But how many subscribers count total if you took all of our guests since the beginning of December and added them up? It looks like David is saying C. PJ is saying B. And 4321 is saying D, 10.52. And Darius, what do you say? What's your guesstimate there?
I'm thinking it's B.
You thinking it's B?
Yeah. Okay.
So it's actually C. So that's a tough one. But if you added everyone's subs together, you come up with about 8.7 million. So we've had some guests with less than 1,000 subs, and we've had guests with many subs. So it's been varied, and all the guests were good, and I've totally enjoyed it, and I'm looking forward to the guest in the future too. So, how many of our guests do you think had more than 250,000 subscribers? And I know this is kind of a trivia just about our channel, just having some fun with it after we talked about woodworking season. But I'm wondering what people are thinking. 4321 says he's 0 for 2 so far on his guesses. PJ says A, 5. So 5 of our guests is she saying had more than 250,000 subscribers. Jarmaid says B, 7 of our guests had more than 250,000. I've got 4321 answering an A for 5. 413 Furniture Builds answering B for 7. Foodhead answering D for 11. David Corliss said B, 7. And Sandy from McKenzie Lumber Mill is saying B, 7. What do you say, Darius?
I'm going with C.
Going with C, 9. All right, let's see what it is. It is. 9 of our guests have had more than 250,000 subscribers. It's a large number. Yeah, it's fun getting perspective of different people with channels with different number of subscribers, and thinking how we can get there someday, right, Darius?
Oh yeah, that'd be nice.
Yeah. How many of our guests have more than 1 million subscribers? And it's either 1, 2, or 3. We didn't have more than 3, but we did have at least 1. So how many had at least 1 million subscribers? What? 4321 says he's 0 for 3 now. That's okay, Chris. It's all for fun. Let's see. PJ is saying 2. David Corliss is saying 1. Rich is saying 1. 4321 is saying 1. Jarmaid is saying 1. Since y'all are guessing 1, I'm wondering if you'll type in who it is. Which guest had more than 1 million subscribers? And Darius, what's your guess?
I think it's 2.
You think it's 2?
For sure, obviously, I know there's 1, but I'm thinking 2.
Okay. So who were the 2? Do you know? I mean, you're guessing 2. I'm wondering who is it?
Ramsey's the 1, obviously, and then I thought we had someone else that had the million mark. I just can't think of it right now.
Okay. I'm seeing some people put in Steve Ramsey. 413 put in Blacktail Studio.
There you go. So that'll be 2.
Yep, it's 2. So Steve Ramsey and Cam from Blacktail Studio, both were very gracious, taking the time out of their day to share with us and give us some insights. So Jarmaid said Woodworking for Mere Mortals. 413 Furniture Build said Blacktail Studio. Yeah, so several of y'all knew that it was at least 1, and I think a few got it, that there were 2. So it is tough to remember all these guests and what their subscriber counts might be.
Well, half the time you can't remember what you did yesterday.
I can't remember what I had for breakfast, so I understand. Which, without looking, I hope nobody's looking, which live stream on the Woodworking YouTubers channel has the most views? And this is as of 2 days ago. Which live stream had the most views? Was it Channel Makers, the Den of Tools, or the ups and downs of moderating a Facebook group? And if you remember, that one was when we had the Facebook moderators from the 731 Woodworking Facebook group on, and we had a conversation. So I'm seeing David Corliss saying B for the Den of Tools, PJ Barker saying C for the ups and downs of moderators or moderating a Facebook group. 4321 is saying B. 2Elm Builds says howdy all. A little bit late. You're not late. You're good. 2Elm Builds, do you remember which live stream or know which live stream from our channel may have the most views? 413 Furniture Build says B, the Den of Tools. Darius, what's your guess? Which one do you think it is?
I'm thinking C.
You're thinking C, the ups and downs of moderating a Facebook group? Okay. We will get to that answer in a minute. Let's go to our next slide, and then I'm going to give the answers to both of these at the same time. So, how many live streams have more than 1,000 views on the Woodworking YouTubers channel? How many of our live streams since the beginning of December have had more than 1,000 views? And I've got 1, 3, 6, or 8 as options. So I think some of these, Alien Leader is saying C for 6. PJ is saying C. 4321 is saying B. David Corliss is saying 6, which is C. 413 Furniture is saying C for 6.
6.
You think it's 6? All right. Let's look at these answers here. So if we look at this, and I'm sorry I can't zoom in, but if you look, the top performing one was the Den of Tools. So those who answered that our most views went to Red from the Den of Tools as our guest, you would be correct. Channel Makers had the second amount, and the Facebook group had the third amount, and James King came in fourth. But then we also had, whenever we had Ira and Amy on as guests, and whenever we had John from Lincoln Street Woodworks on as guests, all of those, 6 of them, made 1,000 views so far. And if you were wondering what your letter was, 6 was C. So several of you got that one right. Very good. Chris from 4321 Woodworking says he's 1 of 6 out of 6 questions. Or 1 out of 7. Okay. What's the definition of a hardwood? Hardwood is any wood too hard to scratch with a fingernail. Hardwood is any wood with a specific gravity over 0.8. Or hardwood is any wood that comes from a broadleaf tree. So all of you are, or most of you are woodworkers or makers. So I would think, I think you're going to knock this one out of the park. So I'm seeing Mackenzie Lumber Mill says C, any wood that comes in a broadleaf tree. I mean, but she works at a lumber mill. Does she really know about lumber? You know you do, Sandy. Okay, 4131 Furniture Build says C. Appalachian Heritage Wood Shop says any wood from a tree that sheds its leaves. Alien Leader says B. Okay. And Darius, what do you think?
I was going to say B.
You're going to say B, any wood with a specific gravity over 0.8? I'm sorry, my friend. It's actually C, any wood that comes from a broadleaf tree. So broadleaves, they fall. That's a hardwood, regardless of how dense the wood or how hard the wood actually is. And there are examples where the wood is not hard. So speaking of which, here's a question. Which of the following is a softwood? Is it walnut, balsa, apple, or yew? So Alien Leader says you got me. All right, PJ Barker is saying B, balsa. David Corliss is saying B, balsa. I got people hesitant to chime in on these answers now. 413 Furniture said B. Mackenzie Lumber Mill, Sandy says even basswood and butternut, which is very soft as a hardwood. Thank you, Sandy. Alien Leader says B. 4321 Woodworking says, I'm waiting for Sandy to answer. Oh, Mackenzie Lumbermill says B. Balsa. Sandy says, not sure of you. YEW. Yeah, because I haven't worked with you. I just saw it listed online. 2M Build says B. 4321 says B. David Corliss is laughing at 4321. VJ says, I've used balsa wood before and it's very soft. Never heard of you. YEW. And Alien Leader is laughing. Dariusz, what's your guess?
I'm going with the majority here, B.
Actually, B is considered a hardwood, even though it is soft, even though it is soft to the touch. And YEW, a wood that I've never worked with or seen for sale, is actually a softwood. So kind of a trick question, but balsa is not hard to the touch and you can scratch it easy with your fingernail, but it is considered a hardwood. So that's the tricky part of the question. But YEW, is not. Okay. Sandy said had a hunch. Appalachian Heritage Woodshop said I got it right. I'm not surprised at anybody who got that one right or wrong because you're an educated group, but balsa I think is very misleading because it is such a soft wood to work with, right? Okay, which of these is not a correct pairing of wood with the color of the wood? Gaboon ebony is black. Padauk is orange or red. White pine is white. Which of these wood and wood coloring are not matched correctly? So I'll leave that up for a second. Let everybody think about that a second. 4321 is saying Gaboon ebony is not black. PJ is saying that white pine is not white. David Corliss says Kabuki ebony is black. 413 Furniture Build says C, white pine is white. All right, Dariusz, what's your thoughts on this one?
I'm going with C because pine's not necessarily white. I think maple is more white than white pine.
Yeah, white pine's actually a yellowish color where the other two are matched correctly with their colors. So that one is tough. I think, 4321 says that we can all agree that Padauk is orange red. Yeah, that one I think was unanimous. But I think the other two, whenever we talk about white pine, we picture it in our head, that light yellow color, but it's not really white. Let me go to the next slide. What's the primary way that Japanese saws differ from United States saws? I'm sorry, I forgot to plug in my computer, so we're about to go dead here if I don't plug up. So what's the primary way that Japanese saws pull or differ from U.S. American saws? The Japanese saws have finer teeth. The Japanese saws cut on the pull stroke, or Japanese saws use better steel. So I'm seeing Appalachian Heritage Woodshop is saying B. They cut on the pull stroke. Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
You just can't see me.
Nope.
Okay, we're gonna keep going. I've got a message up here saying that my camera has lost connection. So I don't know why, but that's okay. We're not going to lose the mic, hopefully. Appalachian Heritage Woodshop says B. Dust Trails Workshop says Code Red. Dust Trails Workshop says deep breaths, everyone. 2 Unbuild says B. Dust Trails Workshop says B. Appalachian Heritage Woodshop says most refer to U.S. saws as Western saws. Yes, thank you. Western saws. So what's your answer, Darius?
B.
B. Okay. That's correct. They cut on the pull stroke. Do you have one?
Not official, but I have one of those little kind of like Japanese saws, basically.
Okay. Yeah.
Something.
Gets the job done, right?
Yeah.
All right. Darius, thanks for jumping on with me. We're going to go ahead and end it tonight. Let everybody spend a little bit of the rest of their holiday with their family. But I do, before you give your closing comments, I want to remind everybody Rex Kruger is our guest next week. And we have upcoming guests that include Andy Bird Builds, Dylan from the Wood Brew channel, Joey from One Way to Make, Jason Bent from Bent's Woodworking and more, and Gerald Vance from the Appalachian Heritage Woodshop. So I really appreciate everybody being here tonight, and I hope that you enjoy our little quiz, and we will have a guest next week. Darius, last thoughts.
Just have fun making what you're making. And I think I hear your wife calling.
You know what? I do hear my wife calling. I got to go.